Here we go.
Yay. And bum, bum, bum. I guess I need to refresh the screen. There we go. Refreshing the screen.
All right. Here we are.
Put that
We are
on
now
mute.
live on YouTube. Hello, everybody from inside my studio. I'm Julia from Little Metal Foxes.
I'm Jennifer from Little Metal Foxes.
And
Ellen is with us also from Little Metal Foxes.
Ellen is also with us from Little Metal Foxes.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, hello. I'm just about to post our Instagram thing. I was just on there
Right.
live for those of you that were watching. And we're going to do our Playing with Fire play date.
Yes, so we are hoping to make this a regular feature of the Little Metal Foxes offerings for the community of foxy people in the Fox Den. We like to experiment with stuff, and this is sort of how we figure out what would work for classes or how we figure out what would work for work of our own. And so we thought, well, hey, we'll invite you in. We'll let you see kind of behind the curtain what happens, how things sometimes go well and sometimes not so well. And what we can learn from that. I frequently say to my students, you learn way more from your failures than from your successes, because then sometimes really interesting doors get opened up by things that go horribly wrong. So plus Jennifer and I just have a fabulous time being together.
Yay!
And we love it when we get a chance to spend time together doing the thing we love most, which is both making jewelry and teaching.
And playing.
And playing. So we have all those things that are fun. If Helen were physically on this continent, she would probably be in here too, but no, she's in the UK, so she has to be zooming in virtually, but hey, that means she can do that. And so can all of you watching from home. So we're hoping to make it a regular thing, these play dates where you can just kind of, you could have a glass of wine and just watch and see what happens, or you could play along with us and give us suggestions and comments. This one, we're going to do some torch-fired enameling, because lots of people have asked about a torch-fired enameling class. And so we're like, hey, let's experiment with that and see what we can come up with and see what works. And then maybe we can actually develop a more concrete class with more pithy tips and tricks for you guys. So she's what?
Pithy.
I'm pithy.
Pithy tips.
Pithy tips, yes.
Was her nickname in high school.
And we already have people from Hawaii. Hello, Paula. And
Hi.
Kaz
Hi, White.
and Babette from Texas.
Hey, Babette. Hello.
Welcome.
Hi.
So Helen, we can't see the YouTube thing, but Helen can see the YouTube thing. And so if you post chat comments on YouTube, Helen will relay those to us here, and then we can, it'll be a little bit of a game of telegraph. We can answer questions if you have them, or if you're like, do that, or I want to see up a little closer, we will try to give you a view. This is also kind of a little, for people who haven't taken a Little Metal Foxes class before, this is a little bit of sort of looking at the space I work in. So
behind the scenes.
A little behind the scenes. And so this is a little look at what it would look like to have a class with me. I do use a document camera, which if we had an example of something, I can always pull the document camera in so you can see how that looks. And then I also often use my cell phone as like a close-up camera for soldering. So if Jennifer is doing torching some enamels, I will probably come in as a participant with my phone and try to let you see that up close. So we will do our best to show you what's going on, but it's a little bit of just kind of controlled chaos, So that's we're just cowgirling it here for those of you in Texas. We have some new toys. One of our new toys I will show you is this little object. So this is something we got a couple of we got them from Seattle Findings, because Seattle Findings is local. Shout out to Seattle Findings. But I think I'm not sure who makes them. Is this a Eurotool thing?
I don't know.
I should have been better prepared. See, if this were a real class, I would know where they would be.
I think you can get them online.
You can get them online. So this is a little torch fire enamel basket. So the nice thing about this is it will sit. It doesn't come to a point. It has a flat part, so it'll sit. So you can say you have something like this. This has already been a piece of copper that's been counter enameled. You can set that in this little basket, like so. Little basket, like so. And then you can heat it from underneath. So you can torch fire it this way, and then you can also come up on top. Now, this has a couple of different ways it can get used. It has a screw attachment here on the side, and you can screw this handle in like so that you can just hold it and then torch it under there so that, because it's going to get a little hot. So you need a little, if you're just using it by itself, you need some way to get your hand away from the heat. And then this set of items actually comes with an additional item. It comes with this piece, which is a little enameling fork, which can be used if you have larger pieces. I don't have anything quite big enough here. Any scraps. If you have a larger piece of metal like this, see, you can take it and set it on the fork, and you could put it in and out of your kiln if you had a kiln. It also works to pick the basket up, right? So you can pick up the basket, and then you could set the basket in the kiln and remove the fork with more finesse, perhaps, than I am demonstrating. The other reason that we got this is because I'm taking some of these chairs out of here. There's lots of chairs. The other reason we got this is because your standard tripod, which I actually like and use, we're going to have a little discussion because I like to heat from below on the tripod. I make my own screen that out of stainless steel wire that is really thin, so it isn't a really big heat sink. So I like using the tripod for like soldering bezels down and stuff. Jennifer actually hates them. And this is one of the few uses that she sees for a tripod like this. She owns one, but hers is quite pristine because she never uses it.
I only use it for enamels. I only use it.
She uses it for enamels.
That's it. That's all I use it for.
And so the cool thing about the tripod, if you happen to have bought one, because, as one does when one is starting out, one frequently buys things and then finds that you don't need them for the work you do. If you happen to have one and you're interested in torch firing and enameling, the nice thing about this little basket is it fits perfectly in there. Right, just hangs nicely in there. And so then you can see what's going on and come in here with the torch and heat this up and do all that. So this is a fun new toy that we're going to experiment with today.
I did a bunch of counter enamels already, so I'm pretty happy about that. Also, I brought some of my
some textures,
etched and roller mill printed.
Let me do this so that I can show people those more up close.
Okay.
You turn this on, and
Kaz asked, and I answered because I knew the answer to this. Can you use mesh underneath your piece and heat from underneath? And I said yes, but you're better off with a trivet and mesh.
Yeah,
just because you have that counter enamel on the backside, because what happens is that you have to have the enamel on front and back to make sure the enamel on top, the one that you want to be showy, doesn't crack.
Right. So if you have counter enamel, and if you're doing flat pieces of enameling, you have to counter enamel because the glass, I'm going to have a little moment of technicality here. The little science, it's like breakout science moment. So the coefficient of expansion, hold that thought. Coefficient of expansion for enamels is super important. It's actually super important for anything glass related. So Lamport glass, enamels, glazes on clay, because glazes are glass, right? So all of those things, the coefficient of expansion, how much something expands or contracts when it's heated, is different for different kinds of glass, and then also for different kinds of metal, and of course, different kinds of ceramics. So when things expand and contract, they change the shape of what they're attached to. So if you have enamel only on one side of a piece of metal, as it expands and contracts, when it cools and contracts, it will actually pull the metal out of shape. And if it can't pull the metal out of shape, what it will do is it will crack off of the metal. Mm-hmm. So if you've got a flat piece of enamel work, you really need to have enamel on both sides, because then it's like the tension, it's pulling from both sides and it's evening out. And you need about the same amount of enamel on both sides. So if you put 6 layers of enamel on top and only 1 on the bottom, not quite enough. You need to have close to the same amount of glass on the top and the bottom to keep it even. If you have a curved structure, if you have a curved piece of metal, less of a problem. You need less counter enamel because the surface is already curved, and so the glass can't pull away as easily from that curved surface. At least that's my understanding.
Right.
So because you have to have counter enamel on the back, when you heat the enamel up, all of the enamel gets sticky, including the stuff on the back. So if you put it on a screen, it will stick to the screen.
Yeah, you can see the cracks.
And you can see the cracks in this one. This is actually really good because this has clear enamel on the front and then nothing on the back, and you can see the cracks in it. So I will show you that here in a second. This is why, back to answering the question, that you want a trivet or something like this that only touches the enamel, the piece,
minimal
on the edge,
contact. Yeah.
minimal contact, like on the edge, or this is the same idea. There are only 4 spots. So, and it's the same actually with ceramics and glazes, right? You have those little trivets that have the little pointy bits so that it holds it up and you don't have a lot of contact. Exactly. Okay, I'm going to share my screen and show you guys. So this is an example of what I use. This is one of the things I use to show people work in progress. So this is a document camera I use to give you guys a close-up view of stuff. So these are some pieces of metal that Jennifer had roll printed or etched. I'm not sure which is which. Which is which?
They're all etched, and then those are roller mill printed from the etched plate.
Oh, okay. So she etched a plate in brass or
heavy gauge brass,
heavy gauge brass, and then she ran it through the rolling mill to give herself multiple copies of things so that she's not using up her etched plate. So these are all, these are very cool.
That's just rolling mill.
And this is rolling mill. Oops, sorry, that's rolling mill too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
and then,
I know what that's from.
Do you?
What is it?
That's from a nail art stainless
Ooh.
steel thing that they use
Texture plate.
for texture plate.
So it's a nail art template, basically.
Well, basically, it's like steel laser etched plate that they use to sort of pick up nail polish and put it on your nail, your fingernail.
Oh, cool. So that's awesome. That is very cool. Wait, let me get up a little closer. So let me show you this up close. Actually, I can even get closer.
There you go.
And show you a super close up of that.
Yeah.
With my little loop. It's pretty cool. Okay, so as long as I'm close up here, this is this piece that it has clear enamel on this side, and then it has no enamel on the back. This is a piece that was enameled ages ago. I mean, literally years ago. And I was obviously in a class and was preparing a ground to do something, but it sat in my studio for a while. You can see that it has chipped off a little bit right here. You can see the copper underneath, and you can see all these cracks. So cracks are definitely an indication that the enamel is under stress, that the glass is under stress and it's not happy. So before I actually did anything more with this, like tried to do anything pretty with this, I should really counter enamel the back. So I can show you these cracks up close. You can see it.
Just go all through.
Yeah, they go all the way through.
Little spidery webs.
Yep. So you got lots of that going on. Okay. Let me.
I did want to show you when I was counter enameling these guys, just kind of playing with this. Some of them I was doing just kind of experimenting which way is up, which way works best. And I noticed that with some of these pieces like this one, what I did was I just sprinkled it on top and I heated it from underneath for a minute. But I found that if you heat it just from the top, that the metal isn't hot enough to hold on to the glass. And so the glass pools in on itself. So it just literally pulled all the way to in from those edges.
Interesting. Okay.
The other thing in that one too, I pulled back a little bit sooner with that one, but I really pushed this one a lot to see that, to prove that. The other thing I noticed too.
So tell me about the color of these, right?
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah. So you notice that some of these are different colors. And that color, this is just my counter enamel that is kind of a mix of like the scrap enamels that I sweep up, literally sweeps.
Right, counter enamel, because it's on the back, you often don't care about the color. And so you save the enamel that's contaminated with colors. And it's, so
it's got clear and white and black and red.
So it's got a mix. So you get this kind of speckledy thing.
Yeah. So which I really like. I really like this as a counter enamel because it's kind of deep and pretty. But the thing that I noticed is that the ones that I just heated from underneath stayed white. The ones that I hit from the top got this lovely black. And so some of them I really kind of played with the like pushing that black to get it kind of
so what do you
gray
think this
different
was? Do you
areas.
think this was?
I have
copper?
two things to say about that.
Yeah. Okay.
So one is it does matter, at least in torch work, when you're doing like regular lamp work for glass. It matters whether you have a reducing flame or an oxidizing flame, or however you want to call that, how much oxygen is in your flame.
Right.
It will affect the color. And two, with the way it pulls in, so glass, when it melts, it wants to self-level to about 6 millimeters. And so that's probably part of that process.
6 millimeters is pretty thick.
Yeah.
Oh, but if it's thicker than 6 millimeters, then what will it do?
It will spread out. If it's thinner than 6 millimeters, it'll bunch in, it'll pull in.
Right.
Okay.
Because that's something that I have to worry about consider when I'm doing fused glass. Is that I have to, if I'm working with like 2 millimeter or 3 millimeter sheet glass, I have to consider how much time I'm and what temperature I'm heating the glass to, so it won't do that. It won't pull in unexpected ways.
Yeah, one of the things I found that was really kind of lovely is that when you get it really hot, especially from the top, the white mixed in with the that soft white mixed in with the clears will do this crazy thing where it starts to look like it's blooming, which I really like a lot.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Right. Let's get a little closer on that.
Yeah. But that's, yeah.
See if we can get more of a close up to see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
When you say
it's like blooming, they look like they're blooming, right?
Oh, yeah.
Where with the one that was just, yeah, you can see the
lift
difference.
It up more.
Here, just put them side by side. There you go. Yeah, that's the same enamel. And you can see the clear and the whites sort of like passing through each other. So this one looks like it's, the one on the right looks like it's a lot deeper and like blooming, like
more dimensional.
Yeah, like algae and moss.
Okay,
and
whereas
all
the
that
other ones,
looks like concrete.
It's just little round dots.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand what you're saying.
Toronto, Florida.
Right.
So it could be, I've been doing some reading on torch fire enameling. So when you heat the copper oxides, depending on how much oxygen you get in there, again, if you have a really oxidizing flame, are going to affect the color of the enamels.
Right.
And then also the carbon from your smoke, if you have a really reducing flame, so you're not fully combusting.
Yeah, that's the terms, oxidizing and reducing.
Oxidizing and reducing. So if you have a reducing flame, which is starved of oxygen, then the fuel gas that's in there isn't being completely burned up. And so some of it is ending up as carbon, and that can end up affecting, giving a smoky look to the enamel. Ooh. Actually being incorporated into the glass of the enamel. So I don't know which of those is what's going on there.
So yeah, all the light ones were heated just from the back, and all the dark ones were heated from the back and then on top, except for the first couple ones that I did that were just sort of warming it gently and then really overheating the top to get it to
suck in.
To do this.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
As an example. So now these have all been pickled, and I've obviously had my hands all over them. So I need to get these cleaned up so that I can enamel on the other side.
So what do you want to use to clean it? You want to use
I'm going to use, or yeah, I can use a little bit of pumice and soap. Does a really good job of scrubbing it, but things like Brasso and Penny Bright and that kind of thing do a really good job. I don't usually like leaving my enamels in the pickle for very long because the enamel can get etched a little bit by the pickle. So I usually pickle them really quickly. But
you wanted to take the oxide off the copper.
But yeah, I want to make sure that this side's clean before I add any more color to it.
Right.
Because I want it to stick. And sometimes those oxides can do one or two things. They can like flake off with the enamel, or they can become part of the enamel, which is
like this one has the corner that's flaked off. Yeah. And you can see the black, this piece hasn't been in the pickles. You can see the black oxides that are around the edge there. And
those will bleed into the enamel if you don't.
Well, you can see how the edge of this is kind of a blue-green color.
It's beautiful.
That's some of the copper oxides actually coloring the enamel. So this is another issue, is that those oxides, if you're using blues and greens in your enamel, those oxides can actually add an element of a blue or green color. But if you're trying to use pinks and purples and reds, then the blue greens are not going to help. They're going to fight with you. And then this is just, I love this. Jennifer made this the last time
so
we played.
great.
I just love the little running ostrich. She enameled, this was all torch fired, and so she enameled it with white, and then she drew on it with a graphite pencil, and then
put clear
over it. Well, so she enameled it with white, then she stoned it with a diamond pad to give it a sponge, to give it a tooth, a little bit of a rough surface. So it was a kind of a matte finish, and then drew on it, and then put clear over it.
Yeah.
The pads that she was using were something like
charge crazy ostrich.
Yeah. So any real graphite pencil lead will work.
Right.
You just have to be careful that it's a real graphite pencil lead, because
Without,
some of them are now made of a polymer, I guess. Or
yeah, some of them have plastic in. The one I had was something that I had gotten for doing an archival project. So I was writing on family letters, and I wanted to make sure it was truly graphite and not anything else. So I had bought those. This was one of the diamond pads that we were using last time. These are from Diapad. They're made by 3M, and it's a plastic pad. So it even has little indentations.
It's like yoga mat foam, but that's really stiff.
This one's a little easier to see because you can see the indentation, so you can grab it like a sponge. And then this part is the diamond impregnated screen or pad, and so there are different grits. This is 1500 grit, and this is 120 grit. So this one is much smoother than this. These are a little spendy. Jennifer found some on Amazon that were less expensive.
They were about $60 for a set.
They're about $60, $70 for a set. This set that I bought quite a while ago, and I paid a lot more than that for it. But I think since then, like the technology for sintering the diamond onto this has gotten, there's been big advances in that process, and then more people are making them. So they're a wonderful thing to have because they're amazing. They're amazing.
Useful for so many things.
I know. I will show you something I use it for today.
And I have a question from Kathleen Faulkner.
Yeah. Hey, Kathleen.
She wants to know, what was the first step on the graphite piece?
The first step was counter enameling the back.
Okay. So the first step was, where's your little graphite piece?
I think it's over there.
I don't see him. Where is he?
Yeah, so
where'd you put him?
There you go. Oh, here he is. Oh, there we go.
So first step was probably the counter enamel.
Yeah.
And
then it was white.
And then she did, I think you did more than one color on here, but it was only white?
Yeah.
Because there's this red on the edge. So the red on the edge, was that just the copper oxides? That's a pretty bright red. Check this out.
Yeah, that's the copper oxide.
Look at how bright that is.
Yeah. That has not been pickled since I did that either.
Okay, so she
that drawing is just fantastic.
I know. I mean, this is why I have to get up close and personal with this. So we're always like cowboying it with the technology. So this is what I've got is just a loop. It's just a regular jeweler's loop. And then I just hold it up to the lens of the document camera, and then I can, zoom in. So then she did the white enamel, and then she stoned it because originally people would use aluminum stones. They'd actually use a type of rock to smooth off and make them enamel a matte finish, or like a Scotch stone. But now we use the diamond pad. So she would have used one of these diamond pads. I think she did like a 400 grit, I want to say.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and so she just stoned it with water. You have to do it. You can probably hear my sink is running because she's cleaning stuff. You want to do it with water, and she just stoned it until she got a nice matte finish. So it was like a piece of paper. It kind of had a little bit of tooth, like a piece of paper. And then she just sat there and just free-handed this little booger. Just doodled it down. I'm always so impressed with people who can do that, because that is not one of the skills I have, right? So she just doodled him down, and then put a layer of clear on him, and then torch fired him, and you couldn't see him with the clear enamel on top. So he kind of was revealed when she heated him up. But I love him. Now, one of the things, of course, is that because this piece doesn't have any holes in it, if you were going to use this in a piece of jewelry, you'd have to set it like a gem, right?
Or in a bezel.
Or in a bezel, yeah. So you have to set it some way because you can't heat this up can't attach it to anything else. So you have to approach it as if it were a picture or something that needs framing. And so you would put prongs, or you'd make a bezel to go around it, or you could push it into a frame from the back, and then pressure fit another frame inside. There are tons of different ways to set enamels, but enamels are their own like thing, and then you have to build a setting for them to go in. And it is actually really important with enamels to protect the edges, because this is where it's kind of like the corners of a square stone are going to be the most delicate. The edges of enamel is where the glass is thinnest, and it's at its most fragile, which is super easy to see with this one, because this is where it's chipped, so they will chip at the edges really easily, which makes them tricky to set if you're bezel setting them, because you start applying pressure as you're pushing over the bezel, and it means
I like to stone mine back on the edges to make sure that
I was gonna say it would recommend that, because I know we do that with fuse glass when you want to make sure the edge is not gonna
chip. wet this well, and particularly probably on the corners. Yeah, because then there's no place. It's kind of like making sure you don't have a tear in the edge of your pie crust or in the edge of your metal as you're rolling it through the rolling mill, because it will tend to expand. And
so your sponges are different than mine, because this is the 20 micron. Yeah, 20 micron, 700 grit. So mine have like little ceramic numblies.
This is kind of a smooth, it's like a screen almost.
Yeah, coarser ones like that. Mine have this like chevron pattern on the coarser grits, and then the ceramic on the higher grits. And I think mine go up to like 6,000.
Yeah. So hers have they're more. They have more
polish stone and glass with them.
Yeah, and she did some cool experiments with those. But anyway, these if you're curious about the exact ones that Jennifer was using, just message us and we'll
they're about they were about $65, I think, on Amazon.
Yeah, and we'll try to maybe we can find that link and pop it somewhere. Okay, so anyway, so that gives you an idea of how if I'm demonstrating something, I often demonstrate using my document camera. This is my document camera. Boop, document camera, little eye on a little swing out arm, so I can move it around. So that's how that works.
The pencil that I used for that, Kathleen, is the Stettler.
Well, the Stettler is the holder, but the pencil was actually, I think it also was Stettler, but it's like a 4B.
Yeah.
I think it's a 4B.
Yeah, this is a Mars Technico. Mars Technico holder. And I got the
for those who don't know, pencil leads are graded from H to B, and so H is hard, B is soft, and it goes from like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 is a really soft lead, and then the opposite way, if it goes to like a 6H, that means it's really hard.
Right.
So
HB is the most neutral pencil.
Yeah.
So I think this was like a 4B. And then she has this wonderful sharpener, which if you're going to do any work with a pencil like this, because these leads are just a lead that fits into the holder, a sharpener like this is the bomb, because it lets you get a really beautiful, precise point.
2 different ones
without having to like scrape it with a razor blade or something.
Yeah. So I confess I had to use rely on YouTube to show me how to sharpen these things, but these are that sounds really sad.
That's cool, Kathleen.
I had to go in and figure out how to sharpen a pencil. But these things, I knew that you stick the pencil in and wind it, but it's got these 2 little holes here and here with like these little arrows pointing to them and this little soft thing plugging it. And I'm like, how do you get the stuff out? And how do I sharpen this? So what I realized was the 2 different arrows, one is skinny and one is fat. So one gives you a point for drawing and one gives you a point for writing. Shading. So there's like a sharp point and a wider point. So what you do is you take the pencil and you drop it down in the hole and you push the pencil up to it. And then when you insert it, it will drop down and you can sharpen it. And it'll give you the two different points. So if you're doing a sharp point or a rounder point.
So it presets the lead in the holder.
Exactly. Yeah.
I went into my office to look for the pencil leads, which were, of course, right here on my bench. These are the actual pencil leads. They're Stettler, Mars,
Lumograph 200.
So
4B.
Yeah. Lumograph 200 4B. So if you can read that. So yes, and so they come, you buy them in a package like this, and they come, I think there are 4 in this package, and they look like that, right? And they have a little bit of a point on them already, but of course that gets worn down pretty quickly. So you really have to have a holder, and then you also really have to have a sharpener. So both of those things, super important.
So my enamels, I just got like a sampler kit from Rio. I love this thing. And the number on the kit is 350
carry those anymore.
027.
I don't think they carry those anymore either.
Because I think we talked about those last time, and some very sad person texted us and was like, "They don't make those anymore."
Yeah, but they do. I know Thompson's Enamels and a couple other people that do like sample packs.
In the UK, it's Milton Bridges or Latham, because I just got a bunch of different of the kind of kit type.
Right.
Do you want me to put this back on so you can put it underneath?
No, I was just going to show. I've got, I wrote down what they are down here. I labeled them with numbers so I know which one's which. And then I did a little test. Organized. I did a little test thing. Yeah, so I know what color they are and how they fire on top of clear on copper. So anyway, and those are stamped so that you can see kind of what they are. Anyway.
Well, here I can show them. We can show them.
They look terrible. I did them a really long time ago, and most of them
here.
I realized, and these are all torch fired as well.
So see how she did the little stamp? She stamped 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on her little.
Yeah, this is terrible. If you're an enamelist, you can sit there and laugh your butt off at me because I am not an enamelist. I am a person that plays with stuff. But you can see that the enamels all have kind of a different melt temperature where they kind of go liquidy, and some of the opaques.
Since these were all on the same piece, they all went to this, which is actually really interesting because you can see this one and this one got really melty.
Yeah.
Whereas this one and this one were still kind of grainy.
That's the opaque white and black. Mm-hmm. So, but then I just numbered these guys so I know what's what and did a couple of tests. But that's my sample box. So.
Right.
Stuff.
I'm nowhere near as organized. I have random jars of enamels that were given to me that, we're going to use hers because we know what they are. So, okay.
I have a point to ask you.
Yes.
So tell me about what happens when you do enamel on silver.
Oh. Enameling on silver is great. Enameling on silver makes the most sense if you're using transparent enamels because you're going to see the silver underneath, right? If you're enameling on sterling, you have some of the same problems that you have with enameling on copper in that sterling has 7.5% copper in it. Science moment. Sterling is 92.5% silver, fine silver, and then 7.5% copper. So that's the black copper fire scale that you get on sterling. It will also affect your colors. So you can either enamel on fine silver. If you're enameling on fine silver, you will not have that problem because there will be no copper involved. Or you can depletion. Some people say depletion gild, but depletion gild is really what you do if it's gold sheet. So you would depletion silver, the sheet. It's also called raising the fine silver, which is a misnomer because you're not actually raising the fine silver. What you're doing is you're eliminating the copper. So you can heat the sterling sheet until it goes black and then pickle it and then heat it again and then pickle it and then heat it again and then pickle it. Some people will burnish it in between with a brass brush. And because what you're trying to do is give all of the copper atoms in the surface of the silver an opportunity to bond with oxygen and turn into one of those black or red copper oxides, black or red or green, and then be pulled off by the pickle. So that then you have this microscopic, it's only a couple of atoms thick layer of fine silver that's on top of the surface of your sterling. And if you sand it or scratch it or even just brass brush it a little too vigorously, you'll knock that off and you'll be back down to your sterling. But the advantage of doing that is that then that little layer is fine silver, and so it will react with the enamels the way fine silver would. But then underneath it is sterling, and sterling is stronger than fine silver, and so
structurally stronger.
That's why we use sterling silver, because it doesn't dent and scratch as easily as fine silver. Bend.
A little less conversation, a little more action based.
Sorry.
Well, and also I know when you're working with glass, you have to be infusing glass and in blowing glass. You have to be careful with using silver with glass, because that's how they make stained glass. So silver fumes will affect and interact with the colors and chemicals of your glass.
That's what the copper.
That's what the copper
and the gold.
Yes. Yeah. Gold is actually, I think, really inert for glass. So that's actually preferred, but gold.
Yeah.
But if you melt the gold into the glass, it turns pink, isn't that?
Yeah. Yep.
I borrowed this book from the library.
Oh, nice.
First Fired Enamels by Barbara Lewis. She apparently has years of experience as a potter, and so she has a lot of understanding of like glaze and glass as it relates to pottery. So anyway, I had been reading some of her book, and she's got she like dips the enamel, dips the hot beads into the enamel. So all right, let me get my Kupina group here so that I can show you what Jennifer is doing. Oh, geez. Here it is. Intonation. Thank you. It's more light. You want a little more height on this, or you wait for a bit. Okay. All right. Let me come into the call with my cell phone, and then I can show you what Jennifer's doing. Let me get over here. And I have to be admitting myself here. See, she's so organized. Join with, let's see. Oh, no, what are you doing? Join your video.
Admit. Haha. Beat you to it.
Okay, now turn myself around. There we go. Now you can see what she's doing.
You might want to take the audio off of the computer or the phone.
Sorry, what was that, Helen?
The audio, if you could turn the audio off on the phone, or just turn it down so you can't hear it. Yeah, there you go.
It's not on.
We have to disconnect audio.
It's not on the phone.
There you go. Just starting to flat now.
You know what I need to do though is hearing myself. Sorry. See, this is where we're cowgirling it.
Oh, I should be doing that for you. Hold on. Let me spotlight you.
Remove the pen. Yeah, spotlight my cell phone.
There we go. Sorry, I'm falling down on the job.
I know, Helen. I'm trying to turn my audio up so I can hear you better.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Okay. Wait. Okay. All right. So what were you saying, Jennifer? Now, see, part of what's going on is that you're going to turn the ventilation off.
Yes.
Part of what you're hearing is that I have ventilation, right? See, ventilation.
I actually don't hear it. So
bench block.
That's what?
Steel bench block. We're good. Okay.
And then the vermiculite's already over there.
Okay. Get this guy. So let's see.
So she fired her little white on there.
Where I picked it up with the tweezers earlier.
Oh, so there's a little spot on the edge where she touched it.
So looking at the counter enamel on this, that's the counter enamel. All right, as you can see, it pulled away from the edges a little bit while it's heating, but this is still very hot. And so yeah, white on that side, kind of a nice, beautiful little texture.
A little bit of an orange peel.
A little bit.
So you can either cool it on a steel block, or you could pop it over into the vermiculite and let it cool, because it really does, both the glass and the metal will hold quite a lot of heat. Can you guys hear us okay still?
Tisha was saying it's a little hard to hear, so maybe it'd be better to turn down the volume on the computer and turn up the volume on the phone.
Camera.
I'm not sure how that would work. Let me try that. Let me come back over here.
This isn't our usual mode of operation.
Or I can mute you and on the thing, and you just turn up the volume on your phone.
Okay. Try that. Try muting me and then.
All right. So now turn up your phone. Can you hear? I can't hear you on the phone. Or did you, nope.
Okay.
Wait, oh, there we go. There we go.
Problem is, I think we're going to have an echo.
You have to disconnect that one. Disconnect.
Well, it's muted.
You have to disconnect that one.
Or just turn down the volume or the speaker volume on your computer.
Okay, how's that? That?
Nope. Okay, never mind. We're gonna just unmute the computer and just do it like we did before. Sorry, ladies or people. Oh, hello, artist 007. Is that Jason? Is that artist 007? Is that Jason?
Okay, so I've run into this problem before with this, that there really isn't a good way. If both of the items think, if the microphones are on, they're going to think they're on. So
right, yeah.
Let me try something else. Let me come back in with my cell phone, and I can try to bring the speaker a little closer with me. So I have this guy. This is my microphone. And
got it.
Okay.
Sorry for the technical difficulties, people.
I know this is how it goes, peeps. This is what happens when we're trying to figure out how to make it
go. We're making it work.
Yeah. So this is the microphone, because there are two of us in the room. Like normally when I'm running a class, I have a headset. I have an earpiece. And so then as I'm moving around the room, you can hear me. The problem is if I do that, you won't be able to hear very well what Jennifer says, and Jennifer can't hear you guys. So we have to have essentially a room mic. So maybe what I need to do is invest in a mic that is a bit better for picking up sound in the whole room, because this one doesn't have a very long cord and is kind of tethered to the computer. But I could sort of make it, I might be able to make it kind of go over here in between. I'm gonna see if I can mess with this a little bit. I can't remember what we did last time, how we made, maybe we just had the sound wasn't optimal.
Well, so just because it was just the four of us.
I'm sorry, what?
It's because it was just the 3 or 4 of us, so we didn't have to worry about,
I think, my iPad.
Yeah, well, we weren't publishing it live, basically.
Right. Yeah, no, we were using this computer. We were using my, yep, we used this one. Let's go. All right, so let me get back on here so that we can spotlight myself on again.
So for those watching, I'm just going to reiterate. If you want to ask us a question, just put it, you need to be logged into YouTube, and then look for the chat, and then you can just chat us a question and I'll read it to the ladies in Seattle and we'll get your questions answered.
Jennifer is around here so you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Now you can smile if you want. Yeah. Jennifer is using one of the diapads to stone, quote unquote, the enamel that she just did. Wasting water and making extra noise. That's okay, because I love her so much. So she's just, but it has to be wet. You want to have it wet, and it looks like you may have a little soap on there too. Right?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, because you don't want to be breathing in the glass dust. That's very, very,
Yeah.
very bad.
Yeah, it's so two reasons you want it wet. One, it actually works better. Like the water is a lubricant.
Lubricant, yeah.
Two, it keeps the particles of the glass from being airborne and getting in your lungs.
There we go. So yeah, now I've got a matte finish.
Let's see if we can zoom in on here. Whoops.
I got a little close to thin on that edge, but that's okay.
That's letting me zoom in before, but now it's not.
Getting a little.
Okay, hold it still.
Yeah, so it's got a matte, mostly matte surface. It's still a little wet.
Right. It's like a stone. You know how a stone has a matte finish when it's dry, and then it has, you know, it's all shiny when it's wet.
Yeah.
Are you going to put another layer of enamel, or are you going to draw on?
I think I'm going to draw on it.
What are you going to draw?
I don't know. I got another one ready to go though. So I'll do that in a minute and then I'll draw on some.
Okay. All right. So I tried to move the microphone a little closer to us. Is the audio a little bit better? Can you hear me?
I think so. So I can hear you fine. I'll wait for someone for the chat to catch up to the video.
Yeah. So right now I just put in my unfired enamel white in the little trivet. Let's see if it's sitting in there. And Julia, and when I did the counter enamels, I was using
see, you can see. I'm trying to get it so you can see that it's sort of
powdery.
Yeah,
right now it's powdery.
Right. So yeah, you were using. So what I have is a propane torch. This is an Orca torch. And now we're gonna have a lot more noise because we have.
It actually does noise canceling, so you don't hear the extra noise.
Ventilation. So I apologize that both the noise of the torch and the noise of the ventilation.
You really don't hear that because it cancels out the noise. There's noise cancellation.
Sorry, Helen, I can't really hear you.
Oh, it's okay.
You can see it sort of starting to, when it's starting to what? Let's get a little light on there. Starting to get kind of pinkish.
Yeah, once it starts to glow, I usually count to about 10, 15.
Yeah, you can see a bit of the glow better here. So how are you liking the little basket?
I love it.
Even though there's a fair bit of metal that you have to heat up.
It doesn't, it actually heats up really fast. Much faster than the screen. Yeah.
So you get it red hot and then let it.
And I count to 10, usually
Count to
10 or
10.
15. Yes. So I count to 10 or 15. And then, yeah,
So Julia?
Yes.
Is there a different tip sizes for your torch?
Yes.
What size is that one in particular? Paula,
that's the biggest one.
The biggest one? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and that looks like it's like.
And the audio apparently is sounding better, so
yeah.
Thumbs up. Woohoo.
So that's still got a little bit of a
orange peel.
Yeah, it's got a little bit more of almost a sugary orange peel.
Is that what you wanted?
No.
So you wanted it to be more of a smooth coat.
Yes.
So it was a little under fired
if
it's got
right
the orange peel.
Right.
Let me grab, let me show people the torch tips here if I can, so I can reach them. Orca tips in there. So this is the largest tip.
It's hot.
And then, yes, I'm being careful not to touch it because it's hot. And then we have a medium and a small. And I really, I mean, it's just propane. It's just propane and air. And so it doesn't get.
I love that it swivels.
Yeah, it swivels. And then this ring here, if you close this up, that will get you a really reducing flame. That will cut down the oxygen, the air. And then if you open it up, it will give you a hotter, hissier, more oxidizing flame.
So in between is neutral.
Yeah. And sometimes it has to be closed down a bit just to get it to light. And then that bread pan that's over here has vermiculite in it. And vermiculite, you can just get it at the garden center, like any nursery. It's used as an additive for like potting soil, so that potting soils will absorb more water. But it works and super cheap. You can buy a big bag of it for $2. It's super lightweight, and so it works really well to cool down things like enamels because it's a really good insulator. There we go.
That looks much wetter now.
Oh, yes. I don't know if you can see it. It's a little damper.
Yeah. Wetter surface. Yeah, that's much smoother. So just reheating that smoothed it out quite a lot.
Yep, much smoother.
Yeah. So, and my counter enamel on the back has gotten darker, right? Because of the heating directly.
So sure.
It's
was
changed
this
colors.
One of the ones that was white on the back?
It wasn't this dark before.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so it's just changed color.
Interesting.
As I heated it
and then
directly.
there's some dark on the edge. Those are oxides from the copper. Yeah.
So I'll stone that away. Now, if I continue to heat it, that's just going to migrate into the enamel.
Right.
Right.
And the glass, the enamel itself will like pull.
It starts to pull
in, and then reveals more metal, and then basket gets more oxides on.
So the trick is balancing it out with your counter enamel, just making sure that you've got even layers.
Right.
So that one side's not thicker than the other, because you don't want it to pull.
Right.
Right.
Like coefficient of expansion.
Right. One of the tricks that a lot of people will do is they'll slightly dome this first.
Right.
If they're going to set it like as a stone or something, because then it
behaves more like a cabochon.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So a lot of my torch enamels that I've done in the past are counter or domed and then counter enameled, and then I do the surface.
Right.
But I in one of the books, I don't know if it was the Linda Darty book that you'd pulled out earlier, talking about torch fire versus kiln enameling. And just as a reminder that, we didn't have electrical kilns.
Right.
Until we had electricity, and enamels have been done for a long time.
Right.
Before electric kilns.
Right.
So, and I definitely like the fact that I can see it changing when I do it by my own hand.
Yeah.
With fire, rather than putting it into a kiln and then like pulling it out. And I'm not a perfectionist when it comes to this. And I know a lot of people that work with enamels really, really are. And it is about the glass and making it sing and making it look perfect and have incredible control over, their colors and what they're going to do. And what I'm doing is playing. And I like to get color. I like to get something I can add to my work that has some texture to it. So a lot of my torch fired enamel pieces are like repoussé and chased, and I like punch holes, in it. So there's like these, like explosive holes that are coming through the surface on some of my sculptures. Well, they are, because I'll drill a hole and then I'll jam a tool through it, and it's just like, so it looks like, because I want it to look like ground, and so I use like a transparent green, and so it gets like a rolling and browns on it, so it looks like earth. Yeah. Which I use on more of my sculptural pieces. Right. So yeah, but I like having that, just sort of not be perfect. And I like the idea of, using the things that the glasses do accidentally, like that soft white passing through the enamels. It gives it so much texture that looks like, lichen or,
Who's that Instagram artist that does the amazing
Eileen O'Shea?
Yes,
Eileen O'Shea.
Yeah, follow her. Yeah, definitely follow.
Yeah, she's You Lucky Girl on Instagram.
Yes. Okay. Well, and a lot of her work is based on. She's very into fungus and
the slime molds and all the weird, crazy, wonderful,
a lot of her feed is just pictures of mushrooms and slime mold and lichen. It's wonderful. And it's really well done.
Her enamels are exquisite,
and her enamels are
and they reflect that sort of natural modeling that you find in mosses and lichen. And I'm liking it.
You're liking it. So this book that I got from the library, this book over here that I was reading, this one here, The Torch-Fired Enamels. Sorry, tissue's in the way. She talks about enameling on copper and enameling on silver. And then she also talks about enameling on iron. She does a lot of beads, and she will use iron, and then she will do stuff like, there was an example of one of these bangles. Where is it? She'll put iron rings onto things and like just stick them down with the enamel here. So for example, that is a jump ring. She made a jump ring with iron wire, and then she stuck it down onto the piece and then heated the enamel, and it just adheres the iron into the enamel, and it gets, you're going to get some oxides from the iron as well. Here, let me try and find a picture of the final piece, right? So there's that iron ring that's been embedded in the enamel, and it has oxides, and it does odd things to the enamel around it in terms of color. So, this is not super precise the way, this is not Fabergé enamels. This is not Mary Lee Ray enamels. This is, a little more rough and tumble, but that's fine. It's a little more renegade cowgirl enameling. But this book seems like it has a lot of good tips and tricks. She has this thing that she calls her bead pulling station, her BPS, bead pulling station. And the bead pulling station has this metal piece here that has notches in it. She has close-ups. How she uses it, right? So that if there's a bead, you can kind of pull the bead off, or you can have the bead on this side. You can push it further down the mandrel if there's enamel stuck on the end, so that you can, enamel on a bead. And then this is the person who, she'll heat the bead up red hot and then dip it into the frit and then heat it again. And that's how she enamels. So she's not sifting on things, but she's got a ton of.
And that's actually how you do glass blowing color, because a lot of most of the color comes from frit that's applied to the clear glass batch that's in the furnace.
Right, exactly. I think she's written several books, and I was interested in perhaps buying one of her books, and I realized that the Seattle Public Library has this one, and I thought, well, I'll just check this one out and have a look. It looks like a good resource, and she seems like she knows what she's talking about, which, based on the little reading I've done in this book, it looks like she knows what she's talking about. Now I need to buy a copy of that myself. So getting back over here to see what Jennifer's up to.
So I've got, this one is one of the rolling mill textured ones. And so I'm doing the opaque white, but I'm going to stone back through the opaque to get to my texture.
Oh, so a little bas relief there. What do they call that? It's not cloisonne. What is it called?
Hot flame she's got there, guys, based on, this torch. It's probably about as high as this torch goes. So she's got about as many BTUs as she can get out of this little. It's a propane torch that's running on a disposable tank of propane, and it's just propane air. It's not propane oxygen. That's pretty hot. Sorry, my meaning on using my. There we go. So people from the side.
There we go. I was just waiting for it to level out. So it leveled out.
Leveled out.
Yay. All right. Give it just a second to cool down.
Using the wrong tweezers.
What? Oh. The other ones.
Right here.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
I didn't want her to use my fine point tweezers, my super fine point tweezers, to pick up that hot metal, because it will mess up the tips of the tweezers. So there we go.
Oh, champleve. That's the word I was looking for.
Champleve.
Yeah.
Sort of like that. Yeah.
Kind of what I'm doing. Yeah. The champleve. So if you were doing like a pure stout, image and packing enamels into the lower areas. That's kind of one way to do this.
Well,
but
pierced out would be plique-à-jour.
but with a background. So you like solder it down to another piece.
Oh, okay. Yes,
Yeah.
then that would be champlavé.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Or engraving, or, this is just roller mill textured. So I've got the.
Right. So is champlavé really anything that has a texture under the enamel?
Let's see.
Not necessarily. There's Bastille.
Yeah, Bastille.
Bastille or tail,
And that
Bastille.
is done with the textures underneath, and then
or tie, probably because of tie,
Yes.
like Versailles,
Okay.
tie, Grisaille, it's French.
grisaille. Yeah, grisaille. And then grisaille would be like dusting this with black and drawing back through it and getting gray tones.
Yep, like they do with stained glass.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do, because you can't see the texture now, it's all just, white.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nice shiny white. So what I'm going to do is stone this back until I get to the high surfaces,
Okay.
and then I fire it again.
Well, is it cool enough could I stone that for you while you draw on the other one?
Yeah.
And then I could leave this so people could watch you draw.
Yeah. Stone that one back.
Yeah, stone that one back for you. And then I was gonna I'll just put this in here.
Okay.
Sorry, guys, I've got my hand over the phone. And then set this up so that the phone holder can hold the phone and watch Jennifer draw.
Yeah. Watch me draw.
Give you a little bit more light.
There we go. So, yeah. So let's see.
I wish I could zoom in more, but I don't think I can.
Let's see.
The only thing to do is get it closer, but just like, let's get it so close that it's in the way and she can't see what she's doing. Can you guys see okay what she's up to? That's probably about as good as it's going to get.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Stone, when you wet this, and you just want it stone back flat.
Yeah, stone it back so you can see the copper coming through.
I might want to go with, this is a 350, I have a 120, so I think I'm going to start with that one. Just because I've got to hog off some more material. Actually, I have a 60. I think I'm going to start with a 60.
I'm drawing a face. I'm drawing a face.
I was hoping you could draw a bat.
A bat.
A bat for me. I need a bat.
Maybe she's a bat woman.
No.
Hold on here.
I'm just doing a little hair, shape of hair. There we go. And wait, here we go. There's a bat in the background.
What background bat? Not a foreground bat, but a background bat.
Background bat. And there it is. Bat, ears. Somebody sending up the bat signal. Yeah. A bat. A bat. My bat's not doing real well. Yeah. Bat. Flappity flappity flap. Flap flap flap. That does not look like a bat. All right. There we go. That's drawing. That's drawing. She's a devil woman. Oh, she's got horns. Oh, now things are getting interesting. Here we go. Devil woman with her bat. All right. This is awful. All right.
But you can always take it off. You just rinse it off.
That's true. Yeah.
If you don't like it, just remove it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like it. I'm gonna do it again. Here. That one. Yeah, stone that one back. And there's another one. How's this one going?
That one's the one that has the texture on it.
Okay. So this is the one just starting to I'm just barely starting to see some of the texture coming through. And you can see the difference on the edge where it's still a little bubbly, but it's flattening out where she's been stoning it. So you can kind of see a little bit of the glassy reflection still around the edges. I can see a little bit of the paint from the copper starting to peek through. So once we get that stone back far enough, that'll be good. And counter enamel getting all gray and moonlight on the back. Love that.
Get all of the. I think I have all of the graphite.
Yeah, let's see it. Haha. What do you think, Helen?
I think it's going to look great.
All right. Here we go.
So this is the one that has the texture, right?
Yes.
Okay, so keep working on this one.
Yeah, keep working on that. All right, I'm just going to do some. Lovely lines.
Yeah, I know the pressure's on, right? Like you did such a great job with the little ostrich that now,
I know ostriches are.
you have to meet or exceed that caliber.
Can you tell me the name of the pencil again?
Yeah, it is the Stadler. STAED.
In it.
Which way are you doing? STAEDTLER.
And this is the actual lead that's in it.
That's the lead that's in it.
The Stadler Mars
Lumograph
200.
And this is 4B, so this is very soft.
Right. So the important thing about it is that it's 4B and that it's nothing but graphite, that there's no polymer in there.
Where did you get it, Julia?
I got it at the university bookstore.
I got mine on Amazon.
Actually, I gave you some of the pencils.
Yeah, you gave me some of the leads. Yeah.
Right. But you should be able to get them. I mean, any place that's art supply store is going to have them.
Like
and an art supply store is also going to have the cool little sharpener.
Yeah, so Dick Blick's or Daniel Smith, or although actually I think the Daniel Smith store in Seattle is closing or closed. Jerry's Artorama, any of those kind of stores, you'll be able to find it.
Yeah, this is taking a while to get back through this.
Oh yeah, you go in course, right?
Oh yeah, I've got the courses one I've got. This is the 60.
Okay. So yeah, I know that like once I get this on here, even the most delicate lines will stay. So I can even kind of do a little bit of shading on here. And I really like working with the graphite. It's so lovely.
Okay, now I got too far back in one area, but maybe that's okay.
I'm just doodling. I'm just doodling. Doodly there. Here it is. Yeah, so I've got kind of a blend going on there.
Yeah, so Tisha confirmed the Daniel Smith store is closed, but you can still probably order online. So they're just not a brick and mortar in Seattle, at least anymore.
What aren't?
Daniel Smith.
Right.
Oh.
It was down near the stadium, so it was in Soto.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go. So I've got my drawing. That's just the lead or with the graphite. There we go. Cool. So now to keep this here, I'm going to have to put a layer of a transparent on top of this. So if I do a clear, it'll just stay white and black. If I do any other color, which should still be able to be seen through it. So if I use like a yellow or a clear, transparent turquoise or whatever, I should be able to still see the lines underneath. I'm just going to use a clear.
So guys, the whole time that Jennifer was drawing, I was working on trying to stone this back to see the texture, and you can see it's coming along, but I was over there, scrub. So it takes a little hot minute.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep going because it's what's happening is it's eating it away on the edges, but
yeah. Oh, I'm kind of sunk down in the middle. Yeah. So you can see just barely see some of the texture starting to come.
I can keep going.
Yeah, keep going. Yeah, let's dust this with clear.
Okay.
Let me turn this around so we can. Hello. There we are. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know about that one, Kathleen. Thank you.
Let's see. And
Artist and Craftsman Supply in the U District.
Yes,
Yeah,
that was a good one too. I'd forgotten about that. So the U District has not just the University bookstore, it's got the back shots for me and Jennifer. I don't know why she's done that because see what we're up to. Hi. Scrub. Wet. Scrub.
All I can think of is Wizard of Oz now.
What was that?
The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, Artists and Craftsman is a great store. I
like that store.
Yeah.
All right, here comes. All right. So I'm gonna put this.
Turn you back around so they can see you.
I'm going to.
You don't need to see my butt.
Yeah, here I am. Okay, so I'm gonna go back over here.
There we go. You have to pop. You have to push it.
Push button.
Underneath. The button underneath.
Underneath.
Here. I don't want my cell phone. My new cell phone to fall out.
Here you go. Okay.
Oops. Yeah, I think it's okay.
Yes, you could, Tisha. You can put more white on the disc to fire it again to get it smooth.
Yes.
But what they're trying to do with this is because it's got a texture to it. They want to have the copper that's raised come through and the white dip in the recesses.
Right. So that's what's going on. That's what's going on with this one. This one, I'm stoning it back to see the texture. The one that Jennifer has on here now, this one's the one she drew on, and it has transparent.
Right.
So that you can see the graphite through it.
Right.
I'll go back to stoning.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
I'm just the Oompa.
So as I do this. All right, so I can see the transparent enamel starting to sort of get sugary. And like I said, I usually heat it until I see the metal glowing red, and then count to about 10 or 15, and that usually is about the right place for the glass to even out on the surface. But this one, because I have the graphite underneath it, I can heat it until I see the design start to show through. There we go. There we go.
Design coming through. Nope.
Just a little bit.
There we go. Right back. There we go. Maybe. Okay. So an enamel, clear enamels get clearer each time they're fired too. So that I know as well. Hellos.
Lego.
There it is. There it is. Oh, yeah. I can see a little bit of my Design, yeah.
Trying to get it so it's not, you're not seeing just a reflection from the shiny enamel on the surface. Because you got that transparent, it's nice and clear.
Yeah, it is.
Can you maybe lift it up a little bit? Here, we can tip the block.
Yeah.
There we go. Then people can see it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, let's get it off the.
There you go.
Yeah.
Cool. Nice.
That is cool.
Yeah. So,
and then this one is the one I stoned back to the point where most of the enamel is actually gone.
Right.
To let it, that you see some of the metal. So what do you want to put on that on top?
Color.
Gotta heat it quick.
And do what?
And get some color on my metal.
Oh, okay. You want to get some oxides on the copper.
Yeah.
Okay. Do it.
That's what I'm gonna do.
And then Helen wants it to have color on top, apparently.
It will. That's my plan. So spoiled.
We'll use the lighter. The lighter doesn't have butane. That's why it's there. You can see the copper darkening. There it goes.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to do.
Some black.
Yeah, darken that copper. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Nice. Okay, and then you want to add some color to it.
I do. Yeah. I'm gonna add a transparent, maybe green, transparent red.
Well, the reds don't play well with copper oxides, is my understanding.
Okay.
So maybe green or blue, because the copper oxides, that's what they do when they mix with the thing. Is they make it. That's how the edge of that one is kind of greenish.
Yeah. I'm going to fire this one again. So I know because of Jan's class that she did, we were talking about how the graphite that she uses in some of hers. If you're using graphite under your enamels, you can only fire it a couple of times before the graphite starts to like pop through.
Okay.
It starts to flake out.
Okay.
And so you can only do it maybe 2 or 3 times before most.
It's a pretty red color it got on the edge, the oxide there.
Yeah.
It bled over now on this edge here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's amazing.
I like that, but I know most enamelists are like, don't do it. Get that copper oxide off of that thing.
So you're going to heat it again. Yeah. Why?
To get the transparent clearer.
Oh, okay.
Because a lot of times when you heat transparents more than once, they get clearer.
Okay.
Right? So
it burns off some of the impurities.
Yes, yeah.
I'm just making that up.
No, that's what it does.
Okay.
It may also have something to do with trapped air, but who knows?
What was it, Helen?
It may have something to do with trapped air, but I'm not sure.
What are you watching for, Jennifer?
I'm just watching the surface to get hot. I'm watching the edge of the metal getting red.
Trying to get an angle where you can see what you can see.
Yeah.
It's hard to see, but you can see.
I'm way down low, so I can see
You're looking to the side.
Yeah.
And you're looking to see the edge of the metal get hot, and then you're kind of looking at the surface of the enamel too. Right?
Yeah, right.
And you're kind of watching for it to get sort of
glossy.
And
here we go.
so it's difficult to see that in person without being in person.
As soon as I get it to cherry red, I'm usually counting to 10 in my head.
Okay.
So that I know that it's started to, yeah. There we go. There we go. There's a little spot of white right there. Funny. That's okay. All right. I'm gonna put some clear on this one.
Okay.
Put some color on that one. Transparent.
Fisher says we need to start an organic torch fired enamels movement.
You just started what?
Organic torch fired enamels movement.
And then this mess over here is where she's doing her sifting.
So yeah, so I want to get got white and clear in here, and I'm going to do transparent autumn brown. Let's see, transparent ruby, transparent.
Do you have a transparent green?
Yes, I've got turquoise and mallard green. The turquoise does interesting things.
Can I do the turquoise?
I'm going to do the turquoise.
All right.
Yeah. So this guy right there, and kind of put it in here. Usually I do set this down and do it, but I'm not
Just cowgirling it.
doing that thing. There we go. So just keep sifting. And some people like to use the little twist on this to do like a vibration that sort of scatters the enamels evenly. There we go. And
yes, it's always a good idea to put the lid back on.
Oh yeah.
Did you just touch it?
I did.
Oh no.
There we go. All right.
Oopsie.
Why don't you just take a paintbrush and just brush it up onto it?
I could.
Yeah. Hold the phone. Let me
But I'm
grab
not
your
going to do that.
No?
No. No.
Okay. Like, why waste the enamel since it's there?
Not wasting it. I'm just doing it this way. I am wasting enamels. Okay.
Well, then wait before you pick it up. Let me give you a little tool to help you pick it up.
That's what I was using the tweezers for. But yeah,
But here, use this. Use that. Can't, your arms in the way.
It's your enameling pizza pan thing.
It's the enameling.
there we go. Okay. Yes, here it is. Okay.
Nobody breathe.
All right.
Here, and what you need is like this, but it's not quite wide. This isn't quite wide enough, or your little round thing isn't quite wide enough. Is it?
What?
What we need is something narrower than that little pizza pan, but as wide, about the width of the. I know that turned out well. Like what you could use is like the back end of the tweezers. Like if you set it down on the back end of the tweezers and sifted it over it, then you could lift it up, and then you could slip the back end of the tweezers in like that and drop it down.
Some people do it in a trivet. So they've got a trivet that they use for their dusting.
Yeah.
So they can pick it up by the edge a little more carefully.
Right, that makes sense. I could have given you a trivet to dust with. But no, I didn't give you a trivet to dust with. To sift over. I guess sifting is the technical term.
Yes. Yeah, none of these enamels, none of my enamels are washed and screened down to whatever. This is just really basic and really experimental. So again, for those people that do enamels,
Look at it go.
I'm sure they'd be
They're all
horrified.
horrified and aghast. Horrified and aghast.
Nice. Look at that.
Let's see the lines through it. It's like you can't see on the video, but it's still sort of shivery. Let me get an angle. See the shiveryness. Sorry, so I like dip the phone in Jennifer's head. There we go.
There we go. Oh, okay.
All right. So if you're in chat, you're watching it live on YouTube, and you're logged in to YouTube, you can chat us a question and we will answer it.
Ooh. And then of course you can't when it's hot. Turn the arrow. When it's hot, you can't see the color because it just gets black. And so it has to cool down for it to, it's like a Polaroid. It reveals the color as it cools.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's beautiful.
So I'll fire this again, I think, and get that color a little more transparent. Yeah, it's kind of like when you're firing glass, Helen, you've got like the air bubbles that are in the glass when you do that kind of like kiln casting or pat of air, right?
Yep.
Pat de verre.
Pat de verre.
Yeah. So one of the things that I like to do personally is like my gumdrop rings or my data cores, they are made with powder or fine frit, and even though the color or the glass may be clear, it looks like it's white because of all the trapped air that's in there and the light refracting inside.
Right.
Okay.
So each time you with transparent enamels, each time you fire it, it gets clearer and the colors develop each time. Yeah. So you may get more in different colors with each firing, with each layer. So
I love this color. I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, that color.
I mean, that's a really pretty.
Yeah.
With the white under it and then the black of the copper. Yeah. It's almost purple. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
It's like my hair.
What? Like my hair. Yeah.
Like her hair.
My hair.
Yes. The purple.
Like your hair.
Yeah. My hair. It's like turquoise and purple.
Yeah.
Right.
Although it's not quite as vibrant as it was a couple weeks ago.
In a torch fire, you've got to keep your torch moving.
What happens if you just camp in one location?
It gets hot in one spot.
And then it burns the enamel?
It just doesn't,
Bubble potentially or something.
Doesn't grow properly?
Yeah,
Okay.
Something like that. I don't know.
Keep it even.
I'm playing. This is fun. I'm discovering things.
Glass likes an even temperature. Red hot.
There we go. So yeah, once I get it red,
then you were counting to.
Then I was counting 15.
15. How do you decide between 10 and 15?
Well, I was actually looking for all the little dimples and divots, and I started to see them all sort of flatten out.
And then you counted.
And then I was at 15 when I was there. So as soon as it started to turn kind of a cherry red, I started counting to 15.
Okay.
And sometimes it levels out at 10.
Okay.
Sometimes it's 15. This one was 15. So yeah. There we go.
Ooh, lovely. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, probably could have done a thinner layer, but layers.
It's okay. It's still beautiful. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, touch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really pretty. It has a nice smooth surface on it too.
Glossy.
Glossy.
Yeah, the other thing too, I picked it up so soon that the tweezers left an imprint.
On the first time?
On the first time, yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that you left it. Yeah.
Left it a little harder this time. So yeah, the glass was still a little taffy-like when I did it that time. But
looks good.
Yay. There we go.
Come on, focus, phone. My poor phone. It's like, no.
He keeps taking pictures. There you go. There we go. Yeah. So, here, let's do that.
Awesome sauce.
Looks pretty good.
You want to take it over to the computer and use the loop?
Sure.
Let it cool down
Let it cool down for a second. Sure.
Yeah, this one's cool if you want to take that one over.
Sure. All right. Let me come over here.
And switch the spotlight.
Stop the video.
Play spotlight. There we go.
And
you didn't have to. Well, I guess you.
That's okay.
Better than seeing the ceiling.
Yeah. Or whatever. If I stop the video, then it. Oh, you have to remove this.
I already spotlighted your computer.
No, you can't spotlight my computer. There we go.
Oh,
I had to unspotlight it because otherwise you can't share.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Right. Then you're spotlighted and then you can't share.
True.
It's all Zoom is its own thing. As we continue to learn, we continue to learn new things about Zoom. All right. So this is the graphite one. And this is super interesting that we got there obviously were some flecks of white that were mixed in with the clear enamel. And
It
so
may
that's
be a
why,
bubble that's popping, you know, if,
I don't know,
From-
that looks.
I
really-
used the same screen and it still had white in it.
Yeah.
oh,
It's
okay,
the
all
same
right.
sifter, and so it probably had little bits of white, because that really does look like white enamel,
Right on the
not a
surface.
bubble.
Right.
Yeah.
My bad. Or was
But
it?
it's kind of, or what, she's like, my bad, or was it? Yeah, because some of the like dots aren't so bad. I love this red orange color that we got, that she got over here on the edge.
Yeah, it's probably like fuming for like you do with silver. That it
Right,
just
it's definitely
seeps
the
underneath.
copper,
Yeah,
the copper interacting with the enamel.
yep. That is pretty cool.
And then this one, is this one.
Mm-mm. Oh,
So,
that's nice.
yeah, this one, it's harder to, it almost, you can see it almost better this way rather than
Yep.
up close. So yeah, it has a very, and under zoom, it's making it look like very indigo, midnight blue. It's actually more of a teal, though there is some sort of, the center color here is interestingly enough darker and is kind of a cobalt to my eye in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see, Jennifer?
Yeah, it's a little thicker in that area.
So there's some interesting changes in the color that are not really being picked up by the zoom. By the various cameras that we're using are having a struggle. But yeah, there's kind of a more purpley blue in the center here, and then it's more teal, turquoise around the outside rather than this kind of paler blue.
It's like a planet.
It does. It looks very much like a planet.
Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? Wait for it.
What are you going to do?
I'm gonna make it
We
more like a planet.
are. I just want to point out, guys, that we are at an hour and 40 minutes
Uh-oh.
of being on air, roughly. So I don't know if people need to go.
Or pop in or out.
Pop in or out.
and out.
Karen just popped in.
Hi, Karen.
Which Karen? Karen who?
Karen Holt.
Ah, so this is a trivet. So what Jennifer was saying is if you sift on a trivet, if you put it on a trivet to do the sifting, it makes it much easier to get underneath it to lift it off. You can just, because anytime you touch the sifted enamel on the edge, you're going to mess up the enamel. So if you can get underneath it to lift it with a tool, like the little pizza guy, or,
Oh, are we gonna do a little Mil Fury?
Uh-huh. Oh, wait. Oh, what's this one? That one's got stripes on it. Let's see that one. Yeah. Turquoisey one. It's a little bit smaller. I like that one. That one.
Oh, you're using glass beads.
Yeah.
It's got glass beads. Here's where the small pointy pair of tweezers are useful. Here you go. If you want to get really little ones, because you might want some of the littler ones rather than those really big ones.
I like the big ones.
Okay then. Apparently we're using the bigger ones. Well, show them what I mean about the small ones.
Okay.
Right? See, there's some little teeny ones in there.
Yeah. These little guys. Yeah. Okay.
They look like a face with the two eyes.
Got. These are pink, kind of a pinky lavender color.
Mm-hmm.
A little constellation. Got some kind of clearish ones in there too, little teeny ones.
Yeah, they'll disappear into that transparent, I think, though. So, yeah. Anybody have a color favorite you want to use? Got. Let me try one. That one with stripes.
White. I don't know.
I have to wait for just a second for the chat to catch up.
Yeah. What do you think?
No input yet.
No input?
Hold
Well,
on.
Fine.
Yeah, use one of your wonky
No, it's
ones.
about a 10 to 20 second delay. So
Yeah,
Ah, okay.
I'm thinking
with the turquoise. Turquoise sort of blends in. Littler turquoises.
Might be nice.
Maybe. Yeah, those pink ones are a little bit better. I don't know. I kind of want to try the striped one.
Well, then try it. You have
Yeah,
another
really?
stripy one. You have a green and yellow stripy one. You have a blue and yellow stripy
Oh,
one.
that's true. That one. Oh, maybe. Oop, Maria.
So Tisha, being a glass person herself, is also in me. We're both wondering about the difference of the coefficient of expansion between the enamel and the beads, but you
This
know,
is how you find out.
yeah,
Right.
we're playing. It may not work. It may work. Who knows? But it is definitely something that you want to consider when you are doing
Want to
this.
put a
Like,
bead on
for
this
real.
one?
Mm-mm.
No.
No, I'm liking that one. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna do this. Here are you. It looks like this weird little face.
But it does look a little like a face, but that's okay.
Give it a try.
All right. We're going to go back over here, get my phone, turn the video back on.
Spotlight you.
All right. Spotlight the phone.
Yep.
Thank you,
Done.
Helen. Not joining the audio because we don't want the audio. Just dropping. This is why you don't want a pumice tray, because then you're going to drop the beads into the pumice tray.
I mean, I know they're just tiny and not very expensive, but it just kills me every time I drop a solder chip in there.
Oh, I know.
So annoying.
Like, ah!
So are you watching to see if the beads actually slump and melt, or you're just trying to get them melted to adhere?
Well, I want them to slump.
Then you might have to come up from the top.
Yeah, I might.
Otherwise, I don't know if you can get the bottom hot enough. Look at those little boogers blowing. Do you want a second fork?
Nah, it's okay. And they're just gonna slump. They won't flatten out completely. They'll stay like little balls on the surface. But I do want them to stick in onto the enamel.
So I know the Barbara Lewis in the torch for enamel book, she sometimes uses two torches so that she can. She'll like clamp one to the edge of the bench, which I thought was pretty smart. Now, those look hot.
That's hilarious. Oh my gosh. Okay. Here we go. Over here. What? Little bubbles. Oh, it's
So like little spikes on a coronavirus. Thank you.
that one. I love the stripe on this one.
Yeah, that one turned out well. It's taking their time to cool down.
It's very numbly. I like the little bubbles. Ooh, they're changing back. They're really black there for a minute.
So wait, the one was yellow and blue. They had the stripes.
Mm-hmm.
And then what were the other two?
That was orange. That was like a darker orange red.
Okay. So they were similar in color, but not identical.
Right.
Ooh, and you got a bunch of oxides in the that have come up off of the copper into the transparent enamel.
Yeah, they have in here.
Yeah. So whoops.
That's from hitting it from the top, I believe, too.
Yeah, so you can see there's sort of this this area that's kind of reddish in here is almost looks like it's on the surface. It's hard to see. It's like a fuming, I guess, maybe off the copper edge.
Yeah, it just looks like it's transmutating through the.
There we go.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so this area here is kind of like the copper fusing onto the surface. It doesn't look like it's in the down in. It looks like it's on the surface.
Yeah, it looks like it's coming through. And that can be from me hitting it with the torch from the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure if anybody's out there and they're like, oh my God, they have no idea what they're doing.
They would be right.
They would be right.
Yep. Mostly correct.
Cool. I know
that is really cool. I want to see that on the under the document camera when it cools down enough.
Yeah, yeah. Cool, man. Yeah, I like melting the little beads and stringers. I think I always like adding I thought I had the stringers in that box, but I didn't. But I like adding like the little stringers of like.
Well, maybe one time we can make some stringers.
Oh, that's true.
Because you have to melt a pool of the
enamel and then pull it.
You dip a pair of sacrificial tweezers in and pull it.
Okay.
And so
I haven't made stringers before.
Yeah, I made some in a workshop with Sarah Perkins. We would like pull them across the whole of the Pratt.
What?
So like the whole of the Pratt studio. So they were like yards long, and then you would break them up into little pieces.
Yeah, actually, that's what Tisha does for a lot of her work. Is she makes the
and stuff. I didn't realize she was doing it that way.
Yep.
So we need to get Tisha to tell us how to do it, because I did it once in a class, a decade ago, and haven't done it since. And we heated the enamel in a kiln, and then so it was much more even. So I'll have to see we'd have to see how we could do it for torch firing.
Yeah. All right. Document camera.
All right. Let me stop my video. Move spotlight.
Spotlight.
Share the screen.
Oh, sorry. No spotlighting.
No spotlight. You don't need to. The document camera basically. But see what I mean about this part? That part looks to me like it's really on the surface. I'm not sure I can show you guys what I'm seeing.
Yep.
It's more, it looks to me like it's more on the surface than it is beneath it, but then maybe I'm wrong about that.
I think it's the copper oxides floating up through the transparent.
Oh, maybe that's what's going on.
Because if it's a turquoise, then more than likely they do use some copper to make that color.
Right.
So much fun.
That is really cool.
Like little egg yolks sitting on there.
We had a nice little comment that from Tisha saying the whole purpose of our video of doing this is watching this takes the fear out of playing and experimenting. And that is our goal.
That is totally our goal, is for you guys to go, I could do that.
Well,
I could be as crazy and
I love the other side of that too. I know most people sort of do like their counter enamels that are like, just it's such a sole function of balancing out your glass. But I really like that melange of color, because it really is lovely. And like I said, I know Eileen does this really deliberately, and uses like greens and whites and transparents, and it just looks like it's 3 inches thick. The way she does
hers are amazing.
Yeah,
but this is pretty fun. I love these colors. I really love and I love these were reds. What color were they? Let's see.
I think one was a red and one was an orange. Now the red is why it's turning a little more orange, is probably because of the type of flame that we did on top.
Yeah.
So I think maybe these were the originals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these were the originals.
They deepened a little bit, looks like.
Yeah. This one actually lost a little color, and this one got a deeper color. And then this one was very much yellow with blue. And I don't think you have one of those anymore. I think it was the only one. And it stayed very much yellow, though the blue has gone kind of black.
It was almost black originally too.
Was it? I'm pretty sure it was blue. Like a cobalt.
Yeah.
Blue.
I love that.
Yeah.
And that one really sank into the enamel. The other two clearly are adhered, but haven't sunk in as much as the yellow and blue one did.
Yeah.
Whoops, sorry guys.
Yeah. So I'll stone the edge on that as well. And take that back
to over a little bit. It's kind of leaning a little to the left.
But I'll stone that edge back.
There might be compatible stringers for enamel. So
there are.
Yeah, that would be a good idea to go and search that out.
Yeah, I have some at the studio. I just thought they were in this box with the beads.
But you can make, that's what I'm saying, is that we made stringers with the enamels that we were using. You just take a little puddle of the glass frit, you melt it until it's liquid, you dip some metal object in, and you just pull it away, and it will pull a strand. So then you're making a stringer that's exactly the same enamel that you're using.
Right.
So you're not having to worry about the coefficient.
Yeah, and what's nice with the stringers is you can use just like a regular candle to bend it, heat it enough to bend it. And so you can do shapes and things. And then
that's cool.
Yeah. So
and then lay the shape down. Do a little fern frond spiral and lay it down on top and then just fuse it on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. With a candle. That's awesome.
That is cool.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I don't know, but I think maybe this is a good place to stop. What do you think?
I think so too. I feel good about this.
I know you did a great job.
Yeah. So unspotlight us.
Well, no.
Okay. So one more question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pauline wants to know if you're going to start teaching again at Tacoma Metals anytime soon.
At TMAC. Oh, Amy. Shout out to Amy at TMAC. Who knows what the future holds, because it's uncertain times.
It's uncertain times. Both of us, though, I have to say, I am really loving doing this online because it lets me reach a lot of people who aren't lucky enough to live in the greater metro Seattle area. I consider Tacoma really kind of part of the greater metro Seattle area. And we are super lucky, those of us who live here, that we have so many physical.
Such a high concentration.
Yeah.
Such a high concentration of artists who teach and such a high concentration of places to take classes. You know, there's Tacoma Metal Arts Center, there's Pratt Fine Arts Center, Danica Design,
Barn,
North Seattle
Resource Network, North Seattle College, Shack Art Center,
Rockhounds,
Northwest Rockhounds. I mean, that's what, 7 places? Can I count?
This is it has the largest, most active metals. One of the most largest active metal guilds in the United States is here in Seattle. And seriously, you cannot swing a cat without hitting a metalsmith here in Seattle.
Right.
Or a glass artist, or both, or a sculpture artist, or a wood artist, or a painter, or
we have a lot of amazing artists, and we have a huge metals community. Yeah. Metals community, not just the jewelry scale metals, but big industrial scale stuff, and blacksmiths, and forging, and all kinds of things.
All shapes and sizes of metal art.
Yeah. So there are a lot of classes in this area, but if you happen to be like some of our students who were here and then say moved to, I don't know, Nebraska,
Idaho,
or Idaho,
Montana,
and they're like,
Montana.
Thank God we can still, I should move the microphone back over. Oh, thank God we can still take classes with you guys because you're available to us online.
Yeah.
And then
a lot of people
from other parts of the world. So
yeah. But it's nice to be able to teach everywhere, doing this. But yeah, I mean, it's fun to teach in person and do special classes that you guys can do hands-on and all that. And we haven't gotten back to that because a lot of places are still sort of under some sort of shutdown.
The mask mandate for Washington State was just officially lifted today.
Oh wow.
So that's sort of this is today is really the first time in 2 years that we have been back to something approaching pre-pandemic levels of permission to be in person. But in the context of that, we started Little Metal Foxes, and we want to not take this away from people who do depend on it. And it allows us to have, offer this to people who don't live close enough to Seattle to come in, or even if they are close enough, can't get out of their house because they have little kids or whatever. There are lots of reasons why people can't physically go to take a class.
But as far as Julie and I are concerned too, it's like we both love to travel.
Right.
Hint, hint. And so
more boxes in the UK.
In the UK, that'd be great. With the other half of our the other third of our boxes over there. But I mean, it's hopefully we'll get back to doing that, maybe traveling around and taking the foxes on the road. Fox pony show. take
the foxes, dog and pony show on the road. So to answer the question, never say never. We're not saying we're never going to go back to teaching in person.
Yeah.
But we feel like there's a lot more to explore for this, and there's a lot more we can offer, and we can meet the needs of a lot more people this way. Which,
and also, it also is kind of nice when we are doing this, because we're not, for those people that do have brick and mortar places, they're expensive, and we want to support their businesses as well. Mm-hmm. So this is just another.
We love Amy. Yeah. Amy's awesome. We both love teaching.
And if it wasn't for Amy, she actually gave us the original support as far as like a brick and mortar place. Mm-hmm. That was like, go out there and do it, and I'll support you, and let's do that. So we actually sort of started because of Amy down in Tacoma. So
thank you, Amy.
Big hearts.
So I have a one other little comment from the chat. They want to see more. Can I read our list of ideas?
Yes.
So we
are of what?
This.
Oh,
more of this.
Play
oh yeah.
Yeah. So we have other ideas for play dates. Yes, Helen, carry on.
Mark making on metal. So we're going to look at some unconventional ways of doing more. And then we have patina with heat.
Mm-hmm.
And fold forming, some interesting ideas on alternate techniques.
Mm-hmm.
And
like a rolling mill or a hammer. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
It's okay. Adhesives in the studio.
Oh, that's really funny. It's like, did they get a hold of our list?
What?
That's our list.
I'm reading our list.
I thought you said you had notes.
No.
I'm like, it's like you're reading our list.
I'm telling them that yes, we're doing more. This is our list.
Yes, we're gonna do more. We're gonna do more play dates. There are some things that are more fun or better. They're better suited to this kind of thing than they are to a more formal space of the class.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing that's really good about play dates like this is that you've got somebody to bounce ideas off of. You've got, somebody that you can, literally play with and have fun. I feel like I'm, sort of cooking in somebody else's kitchen and playing and doing stuff. But that's, it's okay to make mistakes and, burn up some metal and, sacrifice.
An experiment. Yeah. I mean,
all the pieces that I punched out were all scrap metal from my copper drawer.
Right.
Yeah.
Great use of scrap metal from her copper drawer.
Yeah, just getting to play with stuff and see what it does. So anyway.
So let me ask you a quick question, because I've forgotten if you told me this. What about using brass as a base metal?
Ooh, brass, not so much. And actually, Barbara Lewis talks about that in this book, but also when she was talking
because of the zinc.
Because of the zinc.
Yeah,
so the zinc volatilizes, and
I knew there was a reason.
It does horrible things to your enamels.
And to your body.
And to your body. You don't want to heat the zinc up and be breathing the zinc. So because brass is an alloy of copper, you got to be careful with alloys. Copper works great. Silver, gold. Either sterling or fine silver, gold, of course, takes enamels beautifully. Mm-hmm. Iron, the Barbara Lewis talks about, she would just take a magnet and go buy metal beads, iron beads, and you just, buy two or three, buy a few and then practice and see if they work for you. And if they don't, then don't buy 100. Don't buy 100 because they might not work great. But she'll enamel on pre-made beads. Pre-made copper beads. She said she did comment that you have to be careful if there's a lot of really low temperature solder in the holding the bead together. Especially copper beads can have a lot of like really low temperature solder, and so it's like, again, your mileage may vary. Buy one or two,
test it out,
see what happens. If you love the result, great, and if it falls apart into a hideous mess, then you've only spent a few bucks.
Yeah, because I think enamels generally fire around 1500 degrees Fahrenheit, whatever that is, and
that's well above the soldering temperature for the easy solder, which would be your, and extra easy is even lower. So, yeah.
Yeah. So most of the solder that's used with enamel projects is IT solder,
which stands for,
I don't know,
intense temperature.
Ah.
So yeah, but it's almost sterling.
Right. It's very hard to work with because it's like you're soldering with something that is got so much silver in it.
It's practically
already, you're almost fusing. Right?
Yeah.
And actually, so we did some interesting kind of fusing experiments with the Sparks class, fusing sterling silver, and you can fuse sterling silver. So you could fuse sterling scraps together and then you could enamel on top of them if you wanted to get more texture and depth onto something.
Yeah.
Right.
And you can always use silver foil, fine silver foil, and gold foil.
Right. So you can use on top of copper. Exactly. So you can have a cheap and inexpensive, not cheap, inexpensive base layer, and then, the foils and stuff.
And the foils are really nice because they're, reflective and they change the color of the enamels.
Right.
Silver, the fine silver foil, which you can make yourself, just get some fine silver and mill it down super thin, polish it up, and you've got like a 30 gauge or finer, foil. And
lay down a layer of enamel, then the foil. You can't have the foil right on the metal. You have to have,
base layer of
enamel, then the foil, then more enamel. That's basically how it works.
And then you're usually building up transparency that way.
Right, because again, opaques on top of your expensive foil means you can't see the foil.
Right. So anyway, but there we go.
So I have a class coming up tomorrow. I will be doing the stamps and punches class.
Yep. I think and Pauline is in your fireworks class. She mentioned that. She was very excited about
taking that class. That's coming up in a couple of weeks, I think, too. Yeah. And then granulation's coming up. I'm actually wearing my little granulation earrings here.
Oh, lovely.
So we're going to make screens in the first, sifting, separating devices in the first granulation class, and then in the second one we'll actually adhere stuff. We could do another. You should add to your list, Helen, some experiments with fusing sterling scrap. You can do that as a play day, because that can be a really,
I'm writing it down.
Get this super organic result because you're super close to the melting temperature of the sterling, so you get a very organic look. But that could be a really interesting substrate for enamels.
And how about we can try the whole pouring in water?
Oh, some like cowboy casting, cowgirl casting.
I did do one of the pieces that I actually made. I used just a whole bunch of my scrap wire sheet, all kinds of stuff, and laid it all out. Used some solder with it, but like flattened and fused it all together, and then just hammered it down and did it again. Ran it through the rolling mill, and it created this lace piece that was really cool. And I actually used it for one of my sculptures a while back. So it was like I built a box out of that, like lacy looking stuff.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So uses for scrap. Like
April's Earth Month, so recycling.
Oh yeah.
Maybe that's what we'll do. Maybe we'll do a playing with fire and like melt that out of some stuff.
There you go.
Yep. And actually, Tisha mentioned enamel on PMC. I'd be happy to play with that.
Yeah, enamel on PMC is awesome. You can actually mix the enamel into the PMC.
Really?
Yeah, like squish it together.
I had no idea.
And then fire it all at one time, and it like fires the PMC and the enamel. So it's like self-glazing clay. It's really cool. So I've done that with
we got to try that. Okay, I'm putting that on our list.
I used
there's no end to the possibilities of the crazy that can occur.
Mixing transparents in with the PMC. And a couple of the other guys that were, in the early days of experimenting with PMC, were doing using clay as well. So they were firing clay and PMC together and mixing clay and PMC, and then so it was fusing. Fusing with the PMC. Clay. But it's kind of cool because you can like roll out, snakes and ropes and stamp into it, and it acts like PMC while you're working with it, and then it's self-glazing enamel.
You kind of have to have.
You just blew Tisha's mind with the enamel in the clay.
PMC? Yeah, Helen, do you torch fire?
I'm sorry.
Do you torch fire PMC, or do you have to?
No, you can torch fire it. I prefer to do the kiln simply because I have it. but also because it makes it, you make sure that it's an even heat all the way around. But you can absolutely torch fire.
No, maybe we'll have to, give it a try.
Sure. Yay.
Okay, guys.
Yay.
What fun. Play date.
This was fun. I had a good time. I got to hang out with my dear friend.
Yay.
And be in the same room with her without a mask on, which is always such a delight.
We got to make things.
And we got to make fun stuff and hang out with you guys for a little bit. How many people were with us on Zoom, Helen?
So we didn't have anybody actually request for Zoom, but let me check.
Sorry, no, not on Zoom. I mean on YouTube. I'm just curious. Oh no, did you tip it? I'm just curious how many people were watching us.
We had, when I first started, it was around 10. We're at 9 now, but I can check the analytics and
we had, dozen people hanging out with us. Yeah. Oh, that's a reasonable size class for the Fox Den. So.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right, guys.
And join us on Tuesday for tooltips.
Yes. Jennifer does tooltips on Tuesdays. I usually can't do it with her because of my other job as an academic tutor.
But they're always fun when we do them together.
But they're fun when Jennifer does them alone, but they are certainly more fun for me when I get to be involved.
Yeah. Or Helen. I was glad Helen and I got to do it together. And of course, all of our tooltips are on YouTube here. So you can,
you can watch
normally when she does it in the evening, I'm in bed.
Yeah. So also, keep in mind, those of you that are subscribers, anytime we go live, you get an email letting you know that we're live doing something right that second. And which is a lot of fun. And Lori Talcott's interview is coming up very soon.
Oh, you guys really should not miss that. I'm really excited. Her work. It's just beautiful.
Yeah,
she's brilliant and wonderful, and
she's a brilliant maker, and she's a brilliant thinker. All of that is just really deliciously rich.
We'll be coming to you from Lori's studio and showing you what she does, talking about her benches, which have some wonderful history to them.
Yes,
her grandfathers and her fathers, so it's been passed down through the family. So she's come from a long line of metalsmiths, and does beautiful engraving and filigree and traditional Norwegian filigree that's spectacular, and just got back from Norway.
Yeah, so she has a really interesting duality to her practice, because she has this very, very traditional work that she does that is grounded in literally centuries of folkloric tradition. And then she has also very modern work that is very much her own stuff.
Yeah.
And so she'll get a chance to talk about that balance and then the way she makes it.
I'm looking up the date on that. So it's the 20th, right? At 2 o'clock?
Saturday, the 26th.
Oh, the 26th. Oh, it's the 20th is the filigree class, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So
let me put that.
The thing is, we've got just 25 seats for that. It's $10, but you get a $10 coupon for upcoming classes. So
if you attend, if you attend the event live, if you're a participant,
if you participate in the Zoom class. Now we will also be sharing it on YouTube, but you won't be able to really interact.
Right. So you can watch for free. Yeah, you can watch for free. You can watch it. You probably have it up for, so you can watch it later for free if you're not available during the time. If you want to kind of be part of the studio audience, you have to pay $10 to be part of the studio audience. That's just 25 people. That's a very exclusive group. But if you attend on the day, then we will give you a coupon for $10 toward a class. So it'll be washed for you. You will get your money back.
Yeah.
But then we'll have this nice little group of people who we hope will ask, thoughtful questions and be able to interact with us and with Lori, because Jennifer and I are physically going to Lori's studio to do the interview.
Yeah.
I'm going to be sort of the behind the camera videographer person is the idea. So stay a little quiet.
But it'll be the thing that I'm really excited about this is that, having people that can also interact with Lori and ask her questions directly. And, go to her website. It's brilliant and beautiful as well, and has great examples of her work. There's also a video interview of her there as well, where she is talking about her own work and practice. And it's a lovely video.
Okay.
So
LoriTalcott.com, LORITALCOTT.com.
Right. So yeah, if you'd like to join us for that, you can sign up on littlemetalfoxes.com.
Yeah.
And
you can buy a front row seat.
Yep.
Or you can just subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, YouTube will let you know when we go live with that event.
Right.
So either way, you have lots of options for how you can participate.
Right.
Lots of ways to join us.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of joining, it's time for us to
clean up
and get out and move
Now
on
that
to the next things. And Helen needs to be allowed to go to bed because it's late for you.
12:15.
Oh my gosh.
It's after midnight. We kept her up. It's past her bedtime.
No. This is so worth it. I love it. I wouldn't miss this for the world.
If you experiment and do stuff like this,
tag us.
Take pictures, tag us.
Yeah, tag us, please. We want to see what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll share that and be like, look what we did. So yay.
Look what we did.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Good night, Helen. Have a wonderful evening.
Good night.
Bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye.